All right, folks, welcome on back here this Friday, TGIF afternoon meeting edition here at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time this Friday, November 20th. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. I had to rush right back to my desk here to start the meeting. I wrote inside our chat board just a moment ago. Forgot the time for a quick moment. Great to see all of us, though. Bill, Greg, Lewis, Michael. I want to give Lewis a big shout out, actually. He killed it this week, the last few days. Bill, I as well inside our trading room. Great to see all of us, though. A lot of us did really well this afternoon so far. Gary, Troy, Kath, great to see you folks. Chelsea, Philip, David, and Daniel, and Skip, and Norman. Perfect. All right, so for all of us inside our on social media, rather, Facebook Live and YouTube, welcome on back. Market's been choppy today, up and down. We ended up seeing a bit of a drop-off heading into the mid to late morning. I thought we were going to see a lot more from that point, if not right away, then at least at this point in the afternoon. But really, we've just kind of had a whole bunch of just up and down movement inside that range. Not a whole lot going on otherwise on the SPY. So, with that in mind, we'll keep things light. We're not going to really force any call outs, on our list heading into the afternoon, and especially for how well we did at least earlier this morning with all the chop and the range within the market today. Well, we've done really well across the board on a few of the stocks from our pre-market list, on our morning watch list. So, of course, as you can see, the solo trade, one of our big movers once again. So took off shortly after the market opened up, more so around 10 o'clock, 9:45, 10 o'clock Eastern time, broke over, 10. So from there, we saw a lot of buying actually before that point, but once it really, broke above 10, all things were, running up high. So ended up seeing a big move up towards just about 11, had a little fight right around 11.75, $12. Ended up eventually breaking higher going into the late morning, early afternoon, but eventually, well, as you can see, pulled back down. I mean, I thought this would happen just yesterday, but this thing's been so strong, breaking all-time highs. So with that in mind, heading into the afternoon, I don't mind just putting this on our list to begin, but if we have a lot, that's moving otherwise that look better, then I'd rather just skip this. I mean, 145.5 million shares traded at this point in the day. It looks like it's still making lower highs. I was saying to us inside the trading room just before that going into the afternoon, should this still drop, I was looking for right around like 10-20 as a bounce point. So for right now, just put this on our main list, but again, we'll probably scratch it off just as we build up. All right, now inside the trading room really quick, I want to jump to a few of the others, though, that we ended up trading from this morning, but I do see one from Jerry here inside our trading room saying NETE. So we didn't really focus on this one as much at the market open. Now, there's a few stocks that are moving in coordinates with NETE. So, if it wasn't NETE, then it was at least from earlier, a stock like Pola that popped at the market open. With that in mind, just really quick, Jerry, of course, I'm going to put NETE, the pop, the breakout higher going into the afternoon. We'll put that on our list. Pola, at least from this morning, just going back to a couple of those at least. WWR, this one pushed up a little bit after the market opened. There's been so many of them today, just you lose track. Sun W, just up until now, was breaking higher. So, moved up towards a high of 644, pulled back here. Going into the afternoon, it seems to be holding off 580. Want to see this break over 6, see more buying coming in off 6. In particular, actually at 603, 35,000 share order on the ask. So if it could break above that, perhaps, and we see a little bit more from that point, then perhaps we'll see another run on this trade. But kind of similar in the same line of thinking as we had said on Solo, just with as much volume as this stock has traded today, with the move that it made from earlier this week, back from Wednesday and Thursday. It's tough to expect this just to keep breaking higher and higher. Solo, at least, was breaking all-time highs. This, well, you could see not really all-time highs, but nonetheless, maybe we'll just jump back to this one at the end. Then what was the last one? We had SPI, right? SPI, familiar name. This was actually the biggest move of all of those like wacky energy pump and dump plays back from, going into late September. So SPI really ended up kicking things off, whereas the others ended up trailing behind it. But you can see back on September 23rd, stock went from, and this is a real number. It's not like some inflated reverse split. Sometimes that'll happen on the daily chart. This was a real run that we caught. So pushed from 330, the low of the day at the time. We didn't really follow it at 330, but really once this started breaking above 4, we called it out then. From there, pushed all the way up to 46.67. Well, we know what happened afterwards, right? Pump and dump. And for right now, it's pumping back up, or at least earlier it was. Volume waned down quite a bit. Some selling came in off the 1050. You would assume 10 to be the next big level. But again, I feel like a lot of these like energy plays, aside from NETE, which again is breaking higher, I feel like a lot of those have already made their big move for the day. So, we'll check back in with them at the end, but this one at least looks good. Looks like a lot of buying came in off 12 primarily, and then you assume 1250 off the high of the day. But you could see just based on the volume bars as I stretch them. But off of 12 initially, we ended up seeing buying coming in. More coming in here off 1235 up to 1250, then the pop higher. All right. Now, what we'll do is go from top to bottom. We're going to skip number. Actually, yeah, we'll go to it. LGVW. I didn't really focus on this as much going into the late morning, but ended up making a really nice push, I guess, on the chart, but huge spread, very, spaced out order book. Not really too keen on this one for right now. This one, at least, we traded from the morning, the KXIN stock. We ended up doing really well on this too. So I don't know. I don't think this was kind of in the same line as those as the others like SunW, Pola, etc. But it looks like back in mid-October had a pop and drop. And at least from today, ran up beautifully. So we ended up seeing it basically go from 4 to 7 plus. Got halted on the way down. Look at this. We always talk about this. Whenever a company gets halted on the way down, the reopen on the way down, there's a bigger gap compared to like when you see a stock get halted on the way up. There's not as much of a gap up when a stock reopens. There at times there could be, but much more often than not, the gap down when a stock gets halted on the way down. It's the end of the run normally. So the stock here, we're going to pass on. FTSI here, just not really doing too much. It's a Friday, not really thinking that there's going to be much out there. I mean, the market's very choppy, as we had said. So for as much as we traded earlier, the AYRO included, much like Solo, an EV stock that was breaking higher and higher over the last 3 days, really. Well, today ended up having a lot of chop, a lot of consolidation underneath 825, and eventually broke higher. So, once it finally broke, you saw the buying, the big volume spike that came in right after 10 o'clock. It did pretty good, but man, this thing just fell apart too. So right now, I mean, this looks just even worse compared to Solo. Just check back in on that one at least. But yeah, Solo at least holding over 11. 1090 is the main level to watch. So again, maybe I scratched this one off our main list at the end. We'll come back to it. Looks like the SPY is finally looking to make some sort of pop. IDEX, unfortunately, a pump and dump. This looked great from earlier today. This had a lot of activity in pre-market, so it took a little while to get going, but once it popped higher, it paid off, but unfortunately, it was a quick payoff. So, you wouldn't be as inclined to just, get out right away. You'd hope to see more. So once this begins to shake back down, there's not much else to it. So it's easy to lose a lot of profit if you end up missing the exit here. All right, another one, crazy one. I just want to show it. DADA, like popped up shortly after the market opened, lifted off. But, we had like a 50, 60 cent spread on this thing. The spread's tightened up now, but still just flattened out. Not much going on. Here's one from this week, CAN. I saw one of us call this out earlier. It wasn't the strongest stock at the time, but looks like it pushed up to try and break high the day just before. If this stock was shortable, I'd be much more interested in that, at least to see if it ends up breaking down. But, maybe I'll come back to this also at the end. At least it ended up making a nice, pretty run for us at the beginning of this week. Yeah, on Monday of this week, the 16th, ended up making a big pop and run, pulled back the following 2 days after, then popped Thursday, and here we are today. So, nice move. Definitely keep this in mind maybe for next week. But, or I should say, definitely keep it in mind for next week, and maybe we'll come back to this at the end. But we'll keep it moving. Now, Jerry also, that's right. Jerry also called out this CPSH. It's funny. The second that Jerry called this out inside the trading room, we have these like little code names for the stocks that we call out, like FireEye, FEYE. We would call FEY, right? CPSH. When I saw this symbol, I thought of I thought of the word capiche. I don't know why. I was like, all right, capiche here. We have CPSH, capiche, pushed up pretty nicely, at least low volume move. Just spreads are tight, which I do like. Very liquid order book for right now. I guess we'll just keep this on our list or put this on our list. Capiche. All right. Let's see what else do we have. Blink was a monster today once again. Jeez, and these EV stocks it seems like there's like no end to their run. Even if there's a pullback one day, they just keep pushing. Blink Charging, we ended up seeing them make a breakout as soon as the market opened up, broke above 1950, broke above 20 right away to where we saw a lot of buying. I thought this would have pulled back down a lot further compared to where it has, so far. So that means it's holding pretty strong. Look at the SPY right now. Just we were looking at that over a minute ago. Look at the SPY drop right now. I don't know if there's any news that just came out. We'll check in at the end. We've seen some funky business go on within the markets at this time of the day during these afternoon meetings. I remember at one point news came out, the Dow crashed 600 points in a minute. WWR. So I saw one of us just recall this out before as I was going through some of the others. Yeah, it's pushing back up a bit, right? So this was really strong for us also going back into the beginning of October. I think it went like SPI and then from there WWR in terms of just the range of that run. So that I like, So for right now, actually, we'll slip this one on our list. Bonnie from her own call out inside our trading room picked up 6 cents. She got in from 661. Nice. Good catch, Bonnie. Let's see what else we have here as we go down the gainers list here, just skimming through. DPW, BVXV. I remember that name. Yep. You know how you remember this name? Just you look at the daily chart. So this stock got drilled going back into the end of October. It was down 80+%. It's not doing anything now. Just you look at the stock, though. You want to check it out at least. It's up 14%. It's a familiar name. And I remember this stock got crushed on the daily chart here. So hopefully at some point next week we'll see this squeeze, maybe Monday. I wouldn't expect for it to be today. Just looking at this, from earlier it looked great, but the volume died off. We saw more selling coming in, so this could easily just pull back down for as much as it dropped, right? You don't want to get stuck holding on to this hoping because, if you try doing that here, you're holding on a long time. So it's not swing trading advice, but that's just something to keep in mind, a name to keep in mind for next week. Much like right now, at least Party City, we're going to keep in mind for this afternoon. So Party City looking really strong as far as its trend, very liquid order book, more of a level 1 stock. Ended up taking quite a hit back on Wednesday this week. Shortable ended up making a nice drop off, but pushing up pretty nicely here. All right, so I think that just about does it on the gainer side. I know F-Tech Fausto called out earlier today, to which it was a good call. But for as much as it moved up, I wouldn't expect for it to make a second big burst out. So morning trade, not an afternoon one. All right, we'll hop over to the losers list. I see a couple of profits inside our trading room just on the pot stocks. I saw Troy pick up some money on ACB. We'll get to that just once we're done here. NNDM I do want to jump to. It's hard to borrow, but ended up making a really big run up just before going into the early afternoon. So I guess now at this point, the wheels fell off. So not really too interested, but wanted to look at it. It was down big, made a nice dead cat bounce for what it's worth. AVRO, shortable. Spread's not too bad. Trading kind of crap volume, though, about 2,000-3,000 shares per minute. That's not a whole lot. It's not what I would really want. GSX squeezing back up a bit here. It's actually technically around the high of the day, high of the regular session, but obviously took a big hit from earnings this morning. Big spread, expensive, spaced out order book. You know my opinion on that. All right. I didn't mean to go back to NNDM here. Let's see. Fossil shortable, it's down big. The stock was doing really good going back into early November, or at least up until I guess today. It was holding up pretty nicely. So it dropped off quite a bit after the market opened up. I don't think it's news related. I think it's just profit taking, but even worse, the stock's trading only 1,500 to 2,000 shares per minute approximately. So that's nothing. I mean, it looks interesting based on the fact that it's shortable. It's near the lows, but not much there. BJ off of earnings from yesterday morning, I think. Ended up making a big run up. Wow, let's take a look on the chart from yesterday for this really fast. I just see it on the daily chart. Just it ended up dropping off early in pre-market. After the market opened up, it really dropped down to 40. Moved all the way back up, though, to make a full recovery and some, and to close higher. And then today, all the way back down. But this stock's trading more volume per minute. It's shortable. could potentially drop right back down towards 41. BJ, I don't mind putting this on our list. All right. I'll be very honest, though. I mean, we have a list of active stocks that are tradable by all measures, and hopefully we have great action on at least one of them. Not really much that I'm drooling over, not much that I'm really chomping at the bit to get into. So certainly, if there's anything else that you would want me to look at, let me know. These are just the ones that are on the percent gainers and losers list. I want to look at this really fast, not as if we're just going to put this on our list, but I&O, something interesting to point out. Good news came out, or I thought good news came out. I read the report, seemed good. It was on I&O and something to do with one of their trials or something. It was moving up nicely in pre-market. After the market opened up, it pulled back. I ended up jumping in this trade from 11.20. And for what it's worth, I ended up only taking a 7-cent profit. It moved up. I thought there was going to be a lot more. Well, I got out. I wasted some profit, but I didn't want to hope and hold because look what happens once this ends up re-breaking support. I didn't think it would drop all the way down to, damn near $10. So this is, on the percent gainers list this morning, pre-market. It's on the percent losers list right now. Very interesting. I was trying to see if it would make a real fast drop down to 10 earlier, but right now it looks pretty slow, so I'm not as jumpy to watch this, but I was kind of hopeful to see like a nice dead cat bounce off 10 earlier in the afternoon. All right, let's see. We got from the chat board here. That's right. Let's take a look at ACB. We'll look at the pot stocks here. So ACB is only up 1.8% or 1.7%, but look at the trend. Look at the volume coming in on this. So, it looks like there's a ton of buying. You have to respect it. The same to be said just with Tilray. The same to be said with all of the pot stocks here at this point. We called out Tilray when it broke over 7, so it's already at 730 right now. I regret not jumping in. CGC, though, is like stagnant. This really isn't pushing up just as much right now, whereas normally this is pretty much moving at the same pace, if not faster, compared to the others. AFA I wouldn't expect much of, and then Chronos, same thing. So really at this point, I'd only just follow ACB and Tilray. The others I'm not as interested in. And I guess I could have just looked at the sector altogether, MJ, just to show. This is MJ, the pot stock ETF. Is it moving up? Yeah, it's moving up. But what's moving sharper? Let's say those two. LI trending lower, says Michael. Well, let's take a look because, okay, so really quick, one of our students, I think, Bonnie, we were just looking at this as a potential short. And we were saying, it looked like a head and shoulders to a degree, like a sloppy one, but, shoulder, head, shoulder. But I was saying this needs to break 38. You need to see a lot of selling coming in. I took my eyes off it at this point, so I didn't really trade it. I didn't focus on it aside from just, helping Bonnie out, but it didn't break lower. Just had a huge squeeze up, just going into the early afternoon. And then here, just right back down, Mike. Good call on the fact that it's trending lower right now. I mean, it's just a very tradable stock. I mean, all of the EV stocks just are in play pretty much every day. NEO's dropping off. You assume all of the others are at this point. So I'm not as jumpy just to tag all of the EV stocks on our main list. But hey, if there's one that's moving that you do well on, then I would prioritize that. Put that on your main list. Williams says he got in on SPI at 1028. So it's dropping back down right now. You want to be careful. Don't try and catch the falling knife, or if anything, if you ended up trying to get in from here, notice what happened. It was holding around 1025, 1030. It's not breaking higher. It's not breaking higher. Breaks down. So be careful on a stock like SPI. Just look what happened here. So far, out of all of those, I really wasn't as jumpy to put them on our list. Aside from this NETE, look at this thing go. From the time where we took our eyes off this just pushed up an extra buck. So you have to pick and choose your battles here. WWR, I said for right now, we'll keep this on our main list. It looks interesting. Still, it hasn't shaken down just yet. Spreads are contained. Very liquid order book, at least. Riot trying to bounce from David. Riot's going to get my attention, so it doesn't matter where Riot is. It's going to get my attention if someone calls it out. Right now, though, I wouldn't bank on it. Going into the afternoon yesterday, right? We were looking at this. It was more so after like the afternoon meeting, right? We were watching this like going into 3 o'clock, 3:30, and we were very hopeful for an afternoon pop and run from 6. Just didn't happen. So, you know my stance on afternoon moves with Riot and Mara, but otherwise, at least looking at this, not right now. All right. Well, we'll look at the cruise lines. We'll look at the airlines, just the remaining side list stocks. We'll look at FCL too. Why not? CCL. Oh, so news was out on CCL, actually. This is not just like, dropping with the market or whatnot, but I think it was with Carnival. They extended their suspension of their main cruise line until March. So we saw a big drop in pre-market on this. If this stock was shortable, I'd say this would have been a great short. CUK is shortable. That is Carnival stock as well. So I guess we could have taken advantage of this, but we focused on just others on the way up. We did good today. ATEN looks stronger than Riot and Mara. Oh, well, this is not related to Riot or Mara, though. A10 Networks. Now, I'm going to just ask something very, I guess, dumb, maybe. A10 is in the Atlantic 10, is in like the college conference, A10 Networks, or is that something completely different? If that's the case, I would have no idea that they would be listed or not. That's crazy if so. But otherwise, looking at the chart, yeah, it's strong, but it's trading a very light volume per minute. If this is the Atlantic 10 network, I'd say college basketball is coming back at least. That's actually coming back, I think, even this weekend. That would actually make sense. I'll look at least after the meeting's finished up here. But nonetheless, though, folks, if there's anything else, let me know. Got nothing on YouTube here. Call out from Dwayne on ACB, which is already on our list. All right, folks, I'll call it. Listen, I mean, right now the market still seems very choppy. From the time we started this meeting, we were talking about a small little mini move up on the SPY up and down, and it hasn't gone anywhere just yet. So right now, let's just stick with this list. I mean, it's a pretty big list for a Friday, for a slow Friday anyway. And I will say, at least, we have a few that look pretty good, like the pot stocks, Party City, that looks pretty good still. NETE, I'll keep on the screen here just going into the close. But otherwise, for all of us in social media, if you'd like to learn more about Cyber Trading University, just as always, make sure that you folks like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. I say that at least to those that are on the Facebook stream. For all of us on YouTube, I know that you guys are there. But nonetheless, if you guys would like to join us Monday to Friday inside our live trading room cyber group, just make sure that you folks go right to the link on the banner below and just join us here. All right, folks. I'll talk to you soon coming up inside the trading room. Take care.